Class is in session. The professor is in. What's happening, y'all? Holler if you hear me. The genetic freak, Scott Steiner, Big Papa Pump, is in the game. And there he is, kissing the gigantic bicep. So he is an Attitude Era powerhouse. And let's take a look at his abilities. He is a chaotic powerhouse, and his training ability, green gems will do 50% more damage, and green moves will start with 2 more move points. So he is going to have a big effect on anybody making a ton of green gems and doing green gem damage. And in terms of his links and his gear, so far he has the WCW link, New World Order link, Attitude Era, and the 1 gear. So we got a couple of move sets that we're going to show for you. The first one is going to be a turn 1 feud build. So this has the Steiner Screwdriver. It is a 5 MP purple move, deal 180k damage, decrease the Juggernaut gem timers by 3. And so all Juggernaut gems will go off, which is good because we are going to put a bunch of them on the board. So the Moonsault Fallaway Slam is 6 MP, and so is the Avalanche Belly to Belly, which means all 3 are going to be turn 1 feud ready. So the Moonsault is going to put down a 3-turn Juggernaut gem that will increase your purple gem damage by 21% for 1 turn, and it will make 1 random purple into a leech gem of 115k. So you're going to be healing yourself as you're destroying all these Juggernauts on the board. And the Avalanche Belly to Belly is also going to make 1 row into these 2-turn Juggernauts this time, but it is going to increase your red MP, and that'll be important on the red MP build. But for this one, it's going to make 4 random into purple gems. In terms of entourage, I went with as much gem damage as possible. So you're going to start obviously with woods to give yourself the purple moves to start first on turn 1. And then it is whoever you have for purple gem damage. As you can see, I used Seth, I used Lacey. If you don't have Macho, we can go over some of the trainers here too. Didn't want to manage her. What I did want to do is replace, so we can find some different trainers. So in terms of who you could put in here in its place, while Seth is good in this spot over here, Gunther is actually going to be your best bet. You're going to start with 2 more purple MP, making it even better for a showdown build, and also do, I believe it's 40 or 50% more purple gem damage, right? So you're going to buff that purple gem damage here. And what you'd want to do is, instead of Lacey or the Macho Man at this spot, you would actually want to put in Zombie Randy Orton, who would then fill the board with purple gems. And you'll see what I mean, that even without filling the gems, purple gems across the board, this moveset still does a ton of damage. Strap wise, I have put on a bunch of Fury 2 medals for us to play with, including this one right here, which has 26% gem damage, all gem damage. And we also have 150% purple move damage. So we're going to be hitting a little bit harder. So keep that in mind as we go. So we are going to have 80. We have 130. Where are we looking at? Purple gems. We're having 142.25% more on the purple gems. If you did get yourself, at least for this build, this rosy plate right here, it will increase your purple and yellow gem damage by 75% for 1 turn by making the leech gems. We'll have to see if that continues to work or not, but the plate that we have on right now isn't going to do a whole heck of a lot, and this recycles on its own. So basically, it's a good test to sort of see where it hits, but you would probably put the rosy plate on this build. So first off, we're going to put the Juggernaut gems down. I'm not sure if it matters where, because they're all going to go off. So we'll hit the Avalanche Belly to Belly first, and we're going to choose the row to put this on. I would prefer myself putting them on a row that has no purple gems to give these Juggernaut gems a chance to go off and make the leech gems hit the random ones that are all out here. So once you put them down, you'll see it says 2, it says 3. That doesn't matter. We're going to decrease the Juggernaut gem timer, and we're going to make the board go boom. So you can see we missed one of the leech gems, and we hit for about 6.5 million right there on turn 1. So you can see that with a with having the proper coaches in place, we would have done a lot more. We didn't knock out all of the purple gems. We didn't make the entire board go boom. So having Gunther and Zombie Randy Orton would make for something closer in the 8.5 to 10 million range on turn 1, I would guess. So we'll do the same. We'll put these down. These Juggernaut gems, both the Moonsault and the Fall Away Slam. And then we'll hit the decrease move. And so the more purple gems on the board, obviously, the better. But you can see that we didn't knock everything out. We did have a good cascade. And even with that cascade, we hit for just over 8 million. So an easy turn 2 win with all of the trainers. You can see that being an incredibly powerful moveset to use. So let's go check out the next build. So I did the Steiner math, and with the help of my buddy Ackwood, I was able to figure out a new way to do this. And so we're going to run it the way that they suggested, and it's going to actually hit the way you would expect Steiner math to hit. So what are we going to do this time around? A little bit differently. So if you don't have the rarer trainers that I mentioned before, like Zombie Orton, then this moveset will actually work for you in this way. What we're going to do instead is we're going to bring in Dusty Hall of Fame, 50% chance for more purple gems on the initial board because we need a match. And then matching that 2 times is going to reload all of our purples. That's the key. Now, what you're going to lose, though, especially if you're going against somebody who can go off on turn 1, is that you are going to want to reduce their moves so that they don't. So if they do have a first turn move, you're going to put in someone that will do some MP reduce. So we're going to do this for the 6-star Hall of Fame Taker. But if he doesn't have, or she doesn't have, a first turn, then you can add more gem damage like I did in the last build. But you're going to see that it's actually probably not necessary. The other thing is I'm going to put the rosy plate on here, but without the rosy plate, it's still actually hit very hard. The Steiner math is correct, and this will spell disaster. Let's do it, Taker. So let's get this genetic freak with the Steiner math done correctly into the ring. So what we're going to do is we're going to drop our gems like we did last time. Again, putting them towards top or middle row. Wherever you drop them down is totally okay. And so the secret then to this build is we are going to take a match on turn 1. And that way, as you can see, our opponent cannot get their turn off. So we're going to keep all of our Juggernaut gems, hopefully, on the board. So, but we need that purple match to reload everything. So let's reload. Our opponent takes the swipe. And now we're in a good position. Here's where the fun begins. We are going to put down 2 more rows of Juggernauts as best you can without cascading. And now we have 4 rows of it, and we are going to take this Steiner screwdriver that drops all the Juggernaut gems, and let's watch the fireworks, y'all. The math does not lie. The numbers don't lie, and this will spell disaster for The Undertaker. He's got 12 million health left, and we just hit for 13 million on turn 2. So that's how you can do it, running it more towards a free-to-play and to hit as you would expect Steiner math to hit. Let's go check out the next moveset. So the next moveset we're going to take a look at with Big Papa Pump here is that we are going to take a look at this red finisher with the sub along with the double black. So his Steiner recliner is going to make 30 gems that are going to do almost 300k for 3 turns, and the rest of them are going to turn into pyro gems that will make all gems above it into black gems. You're going to have the double underhook, so we're going to choose 6 to make into red, and then we're going to put on his other Juggernaut gems. He has 3 sets of Juggernaut gems that we can choose from. This one chooses another row into 2 turn Juggernaut gems that will increase our black gem damage by 33% for 2 turns and destroy 3 random pyro gems at the end of the countdown. So this time around, we are actually going to go with more black move points, and because I have full tour perks, this will go off on turn 1, so it's okay to use this here, but in actuality I wasn't paying enough attention to this. We are actually going to change that. We need to put on, for accuracy's sake, we'll put on woods, and then we're going to go with as much black gem damage as we possibly can. So putting on the Boogeyman, putting on Dude Love, and Santa Hogan in this case, just because we're going to make a lot of matches, but whoever you got to make black gem damage, you can also, if you wanted to, you could buff and go super sub, but the bread and butter of this is making the board go boom at the very end with the pyro gems. So still got the Fury 2s. Let's go against a 6-star. I didn't say this last time, was that there is a 6-star Undertaker, so that's who we're going to go up against. And let's go check it out. Holler if you hear me. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to need a 5 match. We actually have a 5 match, which is good news for us. I do like 6-star Rocky. Okay, so we're going to put the pyros, we're going to put the Juggernaut gems a little bit higher, and then what you're going to want to do is hopefully get the pyro gems. They're going to come across the bottom to help you move them up. Now, usually what you would do, and I'm going to do it in this case because I want to show how this is done, is you're going to need to make a 5 match and a swipe. So there's our 5 match of red, and let's make a swipe that we could use here. And so once you've made that 5 match and we make this one swipe, the Juggernaut gems count down 1 turn, and then we can hit this, our finishing Steiner recliner. And then our opponent will take their 1 turn, and then the pyro gems are going to go off. Hopefully you make a big bang on the board. So that hit for about 4.5 million, that cycle right there. And then we do it all again coming out of this. So what we want to do, put our pyro gem, or put our Juggernaut gems down, and then we're going to put our red gems down. We're going to create a match, and we will take you away to make this work. And we cascaded. So there is one big issue with this. This will still work though. Even if you cascade, even if you do a Brofessor cascade this time around. We still have 1 turn on the Juggernaut, so we've increased our black gem damage. Let's take that and that. Get a nice big cascade, all of those bouncing off, and that did about 4 million. So you can see with each cycle, as long as you don't cascade, it's going to do a good chunk of damage. Let's try it this way first. Let's see if it makes a difference if we hit. Let's put this up here. Good, so we don't cascade. And then we'll put the Juggernaut gems down before we hit our swipe. There we go. That goes off one time. And then we hit our sub and drain them. And so the goal is, of course, to get as many on the bottom row as we possibly can. And hopefully those are the ones that get destroyed. And we get a big cascade like we just did right there. And that one hit for 5 million. So you can see that it has the potential to hit pretty high, depending on, again, how much move damage, or sorry, how much gem damage you're able to muster and put on there. So let's go check out another build. So one last genetic freak of the Scott Steiner move set that I'm going to show you. We're going to go with the triple red move set. So we're going to use the finisher. We're going to hit that Steiner recliner, 30 random gems for 3 turns, doing 280k. So it's a pretty beefy sub. And the rest of them are going to turn into the Pyro black gems. But also we're going to add in the Steiner line. So where we are going to do 180k damage and cause your opponent to bleed for 2 turns. And of course, you have a 50-50 chance of beating him, but because he's a genetic freak, he has more than a 67% chance in the initial first line of the Steiner Math. So this is going to hit if it does hit, you have a 67% chance to hit for 800k bleed damage. And last but not least, we're going to put in the military press drop, do 142k damage, and choose 6 gems to destroy. Now, if you have all bleed trainers here, then I would suggest putting in more bleed trainers. People like Seth is a trainer that you can use here. But I don't have all of those rarer trainers like Razor Ramon, or it's either King Woods or Nakamura. Both of them, the Showboat version adds more. So I don't have the big bleed gem damage, so I would run this as in going super sub in this case. You can also add more bleed on the other end too. So you can run this a couple of different ways. So our sub is now going to do 530k for 7 turns. So as you can see, that's going to do over 3.5 million just in the sub right there. We're going to try to get the bleed off a couple of times as well. It's going to do 800k if it hits. And last but not least, we're going to do the choose gem here. The other thing that you can do if you want to see sort of a combination here is rather than putting in Shelton Benjamin here for more submission gems, we can actually do bleed gems. So we can put someone in like Kyrie, so we can do 1 million and still almost 5 million. Why don't we stick with that and see what we like? So let's go test this out. And the plate I did change as well too. So we are going to put in this plate right here. We're going to put in the Aftershock. So every time you break 3 or more green, you get 3 red move points at the end of your turn. So that's going to help us reload the bleed a couple of times on turn 1. So let's go check it out. We're going to do more sub damage and some bleed damage and try to control the board that way. So here we go, big Papa Pump. So first off, since we've got the red MP trainer on there to begin with, we're going to hit the bleed, and then we are going to hit the choose destroy gem. If you got 4 reds on the board, you can destroy 4 reds. If you don't have 4 reds, by destroying 3 greens and 1 red, you will reload this, as long as you don't cascade, of course. And the plate went off. Now our finisher is up. We're going to hit the bleed again. So that's 2 bleeds. And then we have the same ability this turn, and we can try to risk it and see if we get it. So we can take that one. So we can take the 3 that are there. We can also take a couple of, or just all reds. So you have both options to you. We did not cascade. Excellent. So we are going to do 3 sets of bleed that have a 67% chance. It might actually be 144 and 2/3 chance to deal 1 million damage to our opponent. So let's hit him again. So we've got 3 of those on. And now what we're going to do, rather than hit this move right here. It's always good to keep this move tucked away just in case the next turn comes around and you need to destroy some gems to reload. So let's hit the sub. It's going to make those pyro gems. And now we got a 7-turn sub that's going to do some damage. There's the bleed went off twice. And so after turn 1, that total sub did 7 million damage when you include the bleeds. And so we are going to, we don't have much room on the board to work with up here. So let's take those 4 right there and see if we can get a second turn out of this. Excellent. Bleed. And then what we can do is we can hit this again. And we can go 1, 2, 3, 4, and do some board destroying on our part. We can actually do more board destroying on our part. We can go 3, and we can go 4. So we can do a little bit of extra damage with all those pyro gems. So we did 1 million. The bleed went off once. And then this turn, now we have a lot of pin board to work with. So now we can actually move the bleed a ton. So let's hit the bleed 1 time. We got lots of red on the board, so this is going to help. Hit the military press to destroy. 1, 2, 3, 4. So again, 3 green, 1 red. That's the kicker. Everything fills up again. 2 bleeds. We're going to destroy again. That's probably going to cascade. We don't need all of those at once. Let's take those 4. It totally cascaded, but we still have our rest of our turn. 3 bleeds. And just like last time, we're going to hit the sub. And let's see if we can get the bleed to go off. So we have a good chance. There it goes. The bleed went off 3 times, and he's done. So that's another way you can run it if you don't have big bleed trainers to make Scott Steiner's bleed move super sub do some serious damage. The numbers don't lie, or the math don't lie, and the numbers spell disaster. Maybe I should get that right next time I say it. So there's the genetic freak, Big Papa Pump, Scott Steiner. Let me know what you think in the comments of what you think of him as a character. And if you have any suggestions, I'm always open to any of those suggestions. So put them into the discussion box down there. And always like, subscribe, do the things that you should do with the videos. Thanks for coming to class today. Class is over. Brofessor out.